We'll call the Wednesday, May 25th, 2022 Commissioners meeting to order. If you all please stand for the pledge and a prayer.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to be with the families and all those associated with the tragedy we had yesterday in this country. We ask you to watch over our country and this county. We ask that everything we do in this meeting would be pleasing to you. And we ask it in Jesus' name, amen.
Have the Commissioners had the opportunity to review the minutes of the previous meetings?
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Have the Commissioners had the opportunity to review the claims?
Make a motion to accept the claims as presented.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries 3-0. Have the Commissioners had the opportunity to review payroll?
Make a motion to accept payroll as presented.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. We have a couple reports here, weights and measures monthly report and the monthly report from the clerk of the circuit court. Do I have a motion to accept these reports?
Make a motion to accept the reports as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Dellinger, second by Mr. Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. We have a food and beverage claim from it's project number 47 for the Dietrich Park bleachers for $48,000, and they have also their 20% match. Do I have a motion to accept this claim?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Steve Dellinger, seconded by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Corey.
Good evening, Commissioners. Before I get into the handouts that I've given you, I've got a couple other items. So in regards to our work around entrepreneurship, we have a community survey out. You can go to growinhenry.com, and it's right on the main page. We're promoting that. It'll be open for 2 or 3 more weeks. The ideal target is small business owners and entrepreneurs, but it's really open to anyone in Henry County that wants to take it. The idea is to take that information and come up with some action items on how to create or improve a better ecosystem or environment for entrepreneurs and small businesses to grow in the future here in Henry County. So that's growinhenry.com. It's right on the main page. And then speaking of surveys, the Eastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission has a survey out, and we're going to be promoting that as well. It is to identify strategies and projects important to the region, but folks taking it here would select the county Henry and then give their opinion. So I don't have that up yet on our website, but we're going to put it up there, and so there'll be a couple survey opportunities there open to the public to take. We were unsuccessful in our EPA grant. Appreciate the counties allowing us to apply. There's going to be another opportunity in the fall to reapply, and I think we intend to do that. And so we'll be back at a later date to seek your official approval on that. By way of reminder, the EPA grant, we've had 2 grants. We're wrapping up our second grant. We've had $900,000 combining the 2 grants, and it allows us to do phase 1 and phase 2 environmental assessments on any commercial property in Henry County that has a willing owner. I don't exactly know why we didn't get funded. I have a theory. I'll share that theory with you. When the grants were announced, there's a property here in Newcastle that was targeted by the state to receive some grant funds. And so maybe IDEM and EPA got together and said, we'll give them some grant money for that property and not fund the grant application. I intend to confirm that theory if I have an opportunity to get some feedback. But I wanted to first thank you for allowing us to apply, and we'll be back, as they famously said in the movies. 2 items that I gave to you. One is a PowerPoint that I'm not going to spend any time on. This PowerPoint was scrolling at our annual meeting, and thank you for the 3 of you attending. But this is basically a look back in 21, our activities in 21 in a really concise format. I will go to the middle. I should have put page numbers on here, but it starts at 2021 Small Business Pandemic Grants. It's in orange, and there's 3 or 4 pages there. And so just want to highlight again, through the partnership with Henry County government, including your auditor's office, commissioners, and council, we were able to award grants to small businesses throughout the county. There was 121 jobs retained, 33 small businesses impacted, and that was a total of $268,750 worth of grant funds. That was a combination of your local match and then a $250,000 grant from Okra. So I just wanted to highlight that. I think that was very important, and appreciate your leadership in that. The downside moving forward is we get asked for grants. There's not very many grants left. There's really not. The funds made available because of the pandemic is really the first time in my nearly 20-year career that I've seen that many grants easily available. Some may argue about easily, but easily available to businesses. So I just wanted to point that out to you. And finally, I've given you a handout. I've highlighted some things on it. This refers to new legislation that was enacted recently. C stands for Senate Enrolled Act, and then 361. And then this is a summary of that Section 22. Essentially what this legislation does is it provides a pretty flexible tool for local government to incentivize out-of-state workers, whether that be remote or someone coming to the community to work at a traditional employer, so a non-remote job here in Henry County. Ken and Gray and I attended a seminar on Monday of this week that was jointly sponsored by several organizations, including the Association of Indiana County Commissioners. And this is where this information came from, at least the front page. The second page is a proposal for Make My Move. Make My Move is a for-profit organization based in Indianapolis that seems to have the corner market on the marketing platform and the strategies to reach the target market. And the target market is somebody willing to relocate, whether that be a remote worker or someone moving here to take employment at one of our local employers. I wanted to start the conversation with you today, not looking for any action per se. Recommend that the city and the county collaborate on a joint campaign. I have a proposal in there, so let's see here. Make my move, 2, 3, the third page after make my move, there's a spreadsheet. It looks like this. It's based on attracting 20. And so the total investment is $220,000. That includes an incentive to the remote worker of $5,000 cash. And then the rest of the cost is essentially the platform and services provided by Make My Move. There is a limited state grant available, first come, first serve, and that's identified there as well. So I guess most money scenario or worst case scenario is, let's say the IEDC matching grant's not available. You're looking at $220,000 divided by 2 for simple math, 110 coming from the county and 110 coming from the city. I think the initial funding could come from ARP, and then future funding based on the legislation and subject to some legal counsel review could really come from any source of local government funds based on the seminar that I attended on Monday. I had a similar conversation this morning at a city meeting, and I said, well, you can't use wastewater revenues, you can't use bond proceeds. They don't want you to get into the police and fire pension, but otherwise, this law has opened it up where you can use any revenue source to fund this type of program, including tax increment finance. So my pitch is let's consider using ARP the first year, and then I'll work with the respective TIF districts to keep it going in year 2 and year 3 if it pans out. I can tell you that our friends and our competitors are frenemies. Can I use the word frenemies? They're doing it. Richmond's doing it. Muncie's doing it. Noblesville's doing it. I'm most interested. Greensburg's doing it. I'm most interested in helping our employers. I want to target remote. But if we can help, pick your employer, right? Crown Equipment, Boar's Head, TS Tech, Draper. If we could help them attract somebody from out of state and offer this incentive, I think that's just as helpful it is as on a remote worker. So I wanted to give you that heads up. I will say, if there's any urgency, the urgency is that matching grant from the state. I don't know how long it's going to last, and I do know that it's dwindling. But I understand conversations like this take time, and so
So we'll need to set up a meeting, one commissioner, however that meeting needs to be set up with the city. Do you want to, and you guys can jump in here, do you want to spearhead setting that meeting so we can get started?
Be happy to.
Okay.
So what's your deadline for this grant?
I don't know. It's
my understanding which is weird, that they've only allocated $500,000 for this grant funding, but they think that it will be refunded. As in funded again.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't know.
Right.
I learned about this grant opportunity through Make My Move, not from the IEDC. So that's why I'm being a little skittish on how I answer the questions.
So does Make My Move guarantee, say this is for 20 people? Do they guarantee you'll get the 20 people? No. But
if you don't get the 20 people, then you're not going to pay at least the hard incentive of $5,000. So, still pay them. If I thought we could do this on our own and not pay them, I would recommend that, but
You have to use those who have their expertise.
Yeah.
And know when you don't have yours.
Yep.
How are the statistics for them in did they give you any statistics as far as where they've been successful? I know they mentioned, or Kenan mentioned earlier today, that Greensburg got way more applicants than they could even handle.
You took the example that I was going to use. The mayor of Greensburg spoke at a panel discussion on Monday, and they got over 1,700 applications.
Right, which is amazing, really.
Are you,
Questions maybe on something I didn't cover?
yeah, we're good.
And Commissioner Plummer, I'll work through you, and then you can attend or
Yep.
appoint one of your comrades.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
it's only 6:15, Corey, you did good. Scott and Carrie, is there any updates for the Bicentennial? Yep.
Thank you. What we have, I just talk a little about what we have coming up in the next week. I mean, things are starting to happen pretty fast. So Friday night is the Donut Hole Eating Championship, and there's 8 professional eaters coming. We hope for good weather for that because it's all outside at the plaza. Coming up after that, we will be in the Memorial Day Parade with the Big Bison. Spiceland Wood Products put that on wheels for us, so we're going to pull that. It's going to be in conjunction with the Hoosier Bus and a car from the movie. So we hope to sort of create a little bit of a theme there. Next Wednesday, which is our official June 1st, is when we became a county 200 years ago. So we're having a worship service and birthday party downtown at the Arts Plaza. And that's been planned. We appreciate all the volunteers who have set that up for us. And coming up just a week from Saturday is the time capsule. So things really start going. We start digging up the time capsule right outside here. That's in conjunction with the All Township Torch Run, which Nate Lamar set up for us. And also the downtown cruising will be going on at the same time. Our Bicentennial Coins are out. That's one of the things from 50 years ago people requested we do again, another coin. It's sold very well so far. We sold over 100 of them. We appreciate Edward Jones sponsoring that for us. And the passport's going well, which is getting people, again, it's like the torch run, getting people to go out around the entire county. Our purpose is to be as much about the county as possible. So the torch run and the passport, which is sponsored by Duke Energy. We appreciate them doing that, and that's going well with people going around the county and seeing special events and seeing special sites around the county. Anything else?
Sorry, word paused for a second. So the stone that's out front right now, Steve and I were looking at the yesterday, I think, where it talks about the Bicentennial in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that stone's not going to be torn up as we dig up the time capsule.
We think possibly the time capsule is directly below that.
So it may get, okay, because we were talking about, okay, do we replace that stone with the engraving, or do we just modify?
We've already got it all arranged. There will be a brand new stone.
Okay.
And that stone will be taken to the Historical Society. They'll either put it inside or plant it in the yard somewhere. So they'll be preserved. And the next one will say, dig this time capsule up in 2072. So.
See, is there anybody here that'll be here?
Who's going to be around in 2072?
Nope.
There you go. But the plan is to dig that up earlier in the day, at least do some of the digging and make sure we're
everything is
in good shape for the ceremony in that afternoon. I think the EMS is having an open house down the street at the same time, with the cruise in, the torch run, the digging up of the time capsule is all going to happen the same day. So that'll be a big day, June 4th.
exciting. Has anybody in here signed up for the knockout, the potential world record? No. I'm volunteering, but I may do it just to. You don't have to be good to do it, correct?
No, all you have to do is stand at the free throw line and attempt the free throw. And if you are really bad and just toss it in front of you and don't hit the rim or anything, you're automatically out, but you count as one of the 700 plus who try. So we really need that push. That's sponsored by the Pacers and the Fever and our big sponsors, the Henry Community Health. But
I had the idea of how many have signed up so far.
we're around 100 so far, but the Pacers haven't pushed it yet. We've gotten all the information to them. They're worried about drafts and things like that, I guess.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But they will push it on their social media, which is way bigger than us. So hopefully that'll get it out. And
Okay.
we appreciate everyone else that's helping promote that. So
All right. Thank you.
thank you.
Joe Copeland.
Good evening. I have a couple of things this evening. First, I wanted to talk about the bid for the resurface using community crossing matching grant funds. And I don't know if you got a copy of the bid tabs. Well, the low base bid from E&B Paving was $1,494,362.60. The alternate, which was in the bid, beyond that, from E&B for two different projects, the total was $36,153 for the alternate. With that alternate, my original estimate was $1,527,518.26, which was $2,997.34 less than what it came in. So I was fairly close. I would recommend to award the low bid E&B Paving and include the alternate number one.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion, we approve it as presented by Joe.
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And we'll sign this, and Debbie, do you need just copies of this? Or will you need copies of this, or just give it to Joe?
I'll need a copy to send to the state. They need a copy of the acceptance and the full Form 96.
I guess my question, do you want us to sign it now, or can we
sign
get you a
it.
copy tomorrow? Okay.
The next thing is, in the contract, or in the bid, there was a contract for the paving, and I need you to sign the contract. It's the same contract we had in the last one. Okay, so all I did was change the dates. So if you could read over it and sign it, then we'll get things started.
Do I have a motion to accept the 2022 paving program contract?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Along with that same subject, NDOT is now requiring DocuSign for all agreements between the county and the state. And the email I received from NDOT said that we have to have some form of well, they said you could do a resolution, and they even give an example. And Joel's reviewed it and put this together. But it's a resolution so that the president of the Board of Commissioners can sign agreements or contracts with the state.
Should I read this? Just from now therefore? Okay. We have resolution number 2022-05-25-13. Now therefore it be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Henry County, Indiana as follows. Authorization. The President of the Board of Commissioners of Henry County is hereby authorized and confirmed to have the authority to execute NDOT agreements and all other documents related thereto, and all documents related to any NDOT grant programs for and on behalf of, and to bind the Board of Commissioners of Henry County, Indiana. Ratification. The Board of Commissioners of Henry County, Indiana hereby ratifies all prior agreements and associated documents executed by the President of the Board of Commissioners of Henry County prior to the effective date of the resolution. Do I have a motion to accept this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
This is submitted, it's due by June 1, so it's done. It's submitted to LTAP. I have to upload it into their system, and I'll do that in the morning if you approve it. Pretty much all it is it's a breakdown of different types of costs and income, and it even deals in one section with the amount of road mileage we have. And how, if any, it's changed from one year to the next. These totals that are in here on the financial statement section on the front, those last totals showing the cash and investments at the end of the year, 2021, matches the end of the year report from the auditor. Okay.
So on the 11 roads that were turned to gravel, those are going to be sealed, either triple or double sealed. The ones that on here that says we returned the roads to gravel,
Yeah,
those will be either triple or double, single, double, or triple sealed.
yes. That's the plan.
Do I have a motion to accept the Highway Department's annual report?
I make a motion we accept it as presented.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Thanks again.
Thanks, Joe.
Sheriff McCorkle, you have anything?
Making progress, getting moved out. You know, we've got
Debbie? Nothing? Oh, Stacy, I skipped right over you. I'm so sorry, Stacy. Come, you have anything? So sorry. Angela? Exciting. Thank you. Rita, Memorial Park.
Casey asked me to announce this. We have $36,050 in pledges for the fireworks, and we have physically collected $23,000, and the rest of it's in pledges, which will be coming. And she said all we needed now was $1,000 for renting the porta pots and the golf carts, and we're set.
Good job. That's a lot of money in a short period of time.
Yes.
Thank you to the community for doing that. Yeah, you're in a different spot. Okay. We have a quote for Triple J Plumbing. This is to replace 3/4-inch Flowmatic backflow preventer that failed inspection. They don't make parts for this brand. They're going to supply and install a 3/4-inch Watts backflow preventer. Now, I will say I have no idea what I just read. Don't know what that means, but it needs to be replaced. Do I have a motion to accept this quote?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, or motion by Steve, second by Ed. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. We have an updated quote from Ashley's Cleaning Service, who currently has the contract to provide cleaning service to the courthouse, the Justice Center, and the Masonic Building. ACS will have all the doors unlocked each workday at or before 6:30. For emergencies, there will be on-call staffing. All offices will be cleaned once weekly. Trash in every office will be emptied 3 days per week. Restrooms will be cleaned every workday. They will provide all cleaning supplies and equipment needed to perform all tasks. It will automatically renew each year. ACS will give notice by June should the rate increase the following year. ACS will be paid $6,666.67 a month, which will result in an $80,000 a year contract. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept ACS's contract for cleaning service. They did quite a few extra things during the 2 years of the pandemic. They never charged us extra for any of those, and their bid is about $70,000 less than the other bid we had, so I will make a motion that we accept their bid.
Second.
Motion by Ed Tarantino, second by Steve Dellinger. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. So we received, and this is not on the itinerary, or I have it in a different spot, letters from the DNR for project information that there is no that there is no historic properties affected pursuant to Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act. And has conducted an analysis of the materials dated May 4, 2022 and received on May 10, 2022 for an indicated project in Knightstown, which is at 5988 West Cedar Drive. We concur with Henry County Commissioners May 4th, finding that there is no historic building, structures, district, or objects within the area of potential effects that will be affected. We have 4 of those. That address, the other address is 1603 North 21st Street here in Newcastle, 2867 West County Road 100 South, and 1025 North 14th Street here in Newcastle. I don't think we need to have any, just informational. Next, Sheriff McCorkle. Effective July 1st, Ed Manning will end his tour of duty as Merit Captain of Detectives of having completed 27 years of service. Ed has requested to purchase his duty gun upon retirement for $1. Sincerely, Sheriff Rick McCorkle. Do you want to say anything, Rick? He's earned it. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Sorry, I skipped over the annex because it didn't have anything in here. So we'll go back to the annex building. So on last week, we had both bidders present their sales pitch to us. And so tonight we will be having discussions as to how to move forward. And I will open it up to either one of you two.
Well, since we decided last week that we should put various clawbacks into the contract, and Joel has written up several. I believe that was a draft. Is that right? Correct. Of several different clawbacks being dates by which the contractor, whoever it is, would have to meet certain requirements. That sort of protects us a little bit and a clawback, we get the building back if they fail to meet their requirements. And
We don't just get it back, we have to go through a process. Purchase it back, we have the option to, we don't just get it back.
It would essentially be an option to purchase it.
Option to purchase it back.
If certain conditions aren't met.
Correct.
And we sent those out to the two parties that bid it. And Jeff's here. I don't know if we heard anything back from you about the clawbacks, but
Did you receive that, Jeff?
We did hear from Mr. McGlory out in Minnesota, and he was fine with all the clawbacks that were presented to him up until that time. So that gives us a certain amount of protection as a county as far as our building goes.
You received it, Jeff. Did you have any issues? We just hadn't heard back from you. That's why I'm asking.
I didn't respond back because I didn't know if we were involved or not, and knowing that this would have been a part of the negotiation of the contract, the final contract. Some of this is a little bit, when we made our proposal, we were talking about it, that it could take up to 2 years, and this thing says everything has to be done in 14 months after the closing. So having no idea when the closing is, then it's, don't know how to react to that at this point, to know whether we have enough time, because we haven't talked to our contractors to know where we are. They don't know that we have a project. We don't know we have a project, so we don't know when they would be here to do the work that they've been asked to do. So it may be a little aggressive being 14 months, not knowing that for sure. And also knowing that in 7 months, then we know that we would have the work going on. So it was just a matter of, like I said, not really responding, because we didn't know if this applied to us at this point, and felt like that would be part of the negotiation of the final contract. And if that's the case. Right. Yeah. Right. Because we had previously approved being involved in that kind of situation, almost 2 years ago. So we don't have any problem with the clawback action occurring. It's just the timetable and maybe some of the little details. So we figured we'd still be talking about it if we were chosen. So, all right.
Is there anybody in the public that wants to speak? We don't want this to last for 30 minutes, but if somebody wants to make a brief statement about either one of the projects. Going once? Going twice? Okay. At this point, I will entertain a motion of how to proceed with any of these 2 projects.
I will make a motion that we enter into negotiations with Andrew McGlory on his proposal.
Is there a second?
I will second that motion. I would, though, when we enter into negotiations, if Preserve Henry County is interested, because it was suggested to me that possibly you guys working together with Mr. McGlory on this project. If that's feasible, would you be interested in doing that? I'm not sure yet. It was just a suggestion, and I thought it actually sounded good that if you guys could all work together and we preserve that building, that would be probably in our best interest too. So if that works out, I thought it was a good idea.
Is there a way, Joel, to? My words are not coming, but is there a way to work this that they worked, I don't want to say intent, but together?
There are ways.
That both Preserve Henry County benefits from, I mean, obviously we don't want Preserve Henry County to, in my mind, if this is the way to go, I wouldn't want Preserve Henry County to do stuff and then walk away with nothing.
And like I said, it may not work out. I just something I suggest if they would be interested and we could work in conjunction, I think it would benefit everybody at this point.
So we have a motion and a second. Would you want to amend your motion, Ed, to include the potential of Preserve Henry County?
I don't think so, because in a project like this, somebody has to have ultimate responsibility for the project and the fundraising for the whole entire project. Now, Mr. McGlory did indicate to me that he thought he could work with Preserve Henry County, but I think that should be left up to him. I don't think we should tie his hands by trying to say that he has to work with Preserve Henry County. He did indicate that he saw that as a win-win, and he was willing to do that, but I don't want to try to handcuff the person who has to raise all the money to pull the project off. So I think I want to leave my motion as it was.
And that's fine. I wasn't trying to anchor anybody in. I was just making a suggestion that if McGlory and them can work together, I thought that would be beneficial. So,
And I hope that works out, and I hope that's the way it ends up. But I don't want to handcuff the person that we give the bid to.
So we have a motion and a second. I'm part of the discussion. I still have a few concerns about Mr. McGlory getting this bid, but we'll go ahead and take the vote. So those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion carries 2-1. So we'll need to start the process of what we need to do to get those records moved out of one and into the other. All right. It's like moving from a house after you've lived there for 20 years. You don't know what you're going to find until you start moving. Exactly. Because that has to be somebody certified in working with that wire. Yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you, Rick. Butch.
Before you even start, I want to thank you for using the big screen because we haven't used it very much.
We used it last Friday, didn't we, Butch?
No, it's supposed to last 20 years.
On? Okay. Now I'll just hold it. So I'm going to start off by just showing you this photograph and one other photograph of our dispatch center. And as you can see, there's two positions there. We have a total of 4. Our minimum staffing is 2. Sometimes, right now, I've got 3 in there because it's the afternoon, and sometimes things get a little busy. But sometimes they get busy at 2 o'clock in the morning, too. But I always have a minimum of 2. This next photograph is a little bit closer, and I wanted to show. This is sort of isolating just down to 1. And as you can see, find this real quick. I have a dispatcher here, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screens. This screen up here is actually the cameras that are surrounding the outside of the building. They sort of try to keep an idea on what's going on outside. This screen right here is the active 911 screen, which you guys so generously cover for the entire county. And they can look up there and see at this screen, the map goes on over to here, but basically each one of these is a location where today either medics or fire was dispatched to. And they can look up there and see which officer said they were en route, which officer said they were unavailable, so they have an idea of who's going just by looking at the screen. Again, I show you this for one main reason, and that is it's very technical in there. There is no telephone in there. There is no mic like this mic here that you press a button and you talk to the emergency service personnel. It's all computerized, which is sort of where I'm wanting to go in the future. With this here. Before I explain this to you, and I'm not going to take a whole much more of your time, but every surrounding county, Randolph, Muncie, or Delaware County, Hancock County, Anderson, Wayne County, they all have this program or a program similar to this by a different company. We don't have that, mainly because we haven't had the money. And since we haven't had the money, I've not come over here and begged for it because I didn't figure I'd get it anyway. So, but what this program does, right now the dispatcher pulls up in our Spillman CAD, computer-aided dispatch. They pull up when a call comes in, police, fire, or law enforcement. They pull up and they start gathering information from the caller, calming them down, getting the information, putting it in there, and then they dispatch out both through active 911 and through the VHF radio system, paging system, and 800. They'll start sending police, fire, law enforcement, whoever needs to go to the location. What this program here does is two main things. It allows consistency. Theoretically, if I got everybody in working place, which I don't, 20 dispatchers, 9 full-time, the rest of them are part-time. By them collecting the same information, whether they're on night shift, day shift, whatever, asking the same questions based off the same type of call that they're sending people to, it's more consistent. That consistency gets more better information. That information then goes out to the officers that are responding, whether they're police, fire, or EMS, and then gets them to do their job safer and better. So that's what this program basically does. And how it works is, if the call comes in, I think this one here happens to be an animal bite, but if it was an EMS, all they have to do is click on this, and they can pull up all the EMS If it's a fire, they can click on this and it'll pull up, and it gives them a series of questions based on what type of call it is. If it's an airway issue, then there's going to be a set of questions that are different than this because it's going to have the questions dealt with airway, or heart attack, or stroke, or domestic dispute, or grass fire, or structure fire. Each one of those, when they pull up, is going to have a different set of questions. Again, my dispatchers are all going to ask those questions, ascertain that information, and then pass it on. That means they're all going to be consistent with the same questions. They get pretty consistent now, but it's not good enough. So the other thing that it does is it would do this to me now. Technical difficulties. It also pulls up pre-arrival instructions. It's what the dispatcher, based off of these things that are listed here, will tell the caller. House fire. Is everybody out of the house? Get everybody out of the house. If there's not, where's somebody at? What part of the house they're in, so they can pass that on to the fire personnel, so they can be prepared to do something about it. So they get consistent information. They get consistent pre-arrival instructions that they can pass on, no matter what the issue is, what the incident is. They can very readily click over here and pick out an additional type of call. If it turns out it's a dog bite that now, before anybody gets here, turns into a domestic disturbance between neighbors, they can click on that and they'll gather that additional information. As you can see, a lot of the questions is yes or no, so it's not something they have to type a lot of. They can just, once they ask the question, get the answer, they can click on it, yes. The most important thing about all this is everything they're taking here is single entry. Once they fill this out, and they may have already sent emergency services headed that direction, but they're going to continue to gather the information. What happens is it automatically downloads into the CAD, the computer-aided dispatch Spillman form, which law enforcement, every one of them have a laptop in the car. That information is readily available to them right then. The EMS has some laptops in their vehicles or iPads. They have access to it too. If the fire departments put them in their trucks, they'll have that same access. They'll have that information readily for them at the time as they're either en route or upon time they get to the scene. I'm going to skip down here a little bit because what I really want to do is, I'm a little selfish on this part. Oh, well, built into this, we have the books over there, these books. So if somebody calls in and says, hey, there's a tanker overturned, it's got a placard, it's white or it's blue or it's yellow or it's red, we can open the book up, and a lot of the officers carry that, firemen carry that now, but they'll ask us for that information, so we have to thumb through that book and find it. Here, it's quicker and easier, more readily for the dispatcher to access it. Now we'll get to my selfish part. Quality control. Again, I have 20 dispatchers. So I routinely go through and listen to calls, a lot of times because the prosecutor wants something downloaded, a law firm wants something downloaded. And when I'm listening to it, I know those questions that they're supposed to be asking, and I listen for that. Sometimes they ask them all, sometimes they don't. When they don't, then I go talk to them. That's quality control. I want to make sure that they're doing their job. Sometimes one of the questions don't get answered, there's a reason for it, and I can figure that out, and you know, nobody gets in trouble, but I still, that's what my responsibility is. This is quality control. I can look up an individual employee by the day, by the month, by the week. It tells me, and actually even rates it, you can't really see it, but it gives you the percentage of how they did, how long they were on the call, time out, time in, average, and then it also goes over here and would actually give you a percentage of how they did, rated. Out of the questions that they asked, what they did they get a 60, a 70, a 80, a 90%? So that, again, selfish on my part, that makes my job a lot easier, and I can actually do a better job by keeping tabs on my employees. It's going to be a great tool for new recruits, which I get a bunch of them now because everybody keeps quitting me, going to other departments that are paying a lot more money. I can't blame them, but at the same time, you know, when I get somebody new, instead of when we put them in there and we get them started and doing their job, they're going to have a series of questions. So it's real simple for them to look at it and say, okay, I got to ask these questions. And then I got to go to the next step, and then I got to give pre-arrival instructions. Currently, now we would have 3 of these. Now we've had these since 1989. This is just for the medical, EMS. So if somebody says it's a stroke, I got to hunt down here, find the stroke, flip it up, and then it's basically got the same information there. This gets updated by ABCO on a regular basis. But we'd have 3 of them sitting there, one for fire, one for law, and then one for this. This would be all computerized, plus whatever we ask and get from them, we don't have to type it out. It's going to get put in there and downloaded. Now, having said that, last week I met with the Sheriff's Department, the Police Department, the Newcastle Fire Department, and the Township Chief of the Association of the Fire Departments, and give them this demonstration, explain to them what it was, how it works, why I felt we needed it. 3 of them are here today to say they're in support of it. The other 2, the EMS chief was also there. And they've all, both the chief of police and the chief of the EMS, say, hey, convey to them that we're on board, we're supportive. Now, having said that, the explanation about the finances. I've got the money. Didn't have the money until about a couple of weeks ago, but before I took this position a year and a half ago, apparently, it's been a long time happening. AT&T was overcharging our county for the phone service. It has to do with 911. So, didn't know it until about a year ago when Debbie told me that, hey, AT&T says that they owe you $70,000, a little over $70,000. So I got to checking into it. She had sent them a letter saying, hey, give us our money. And I sent them 2 or 3 letters. They wanted to sell us a product for $70,000. And it's a good product. But it's a product that doesn't work in Henry County. So since it doesn't work here, I didn't want to buy it. And I needed the $70,000 for this, because I've been wanting this pretty much ever since I came in, but I knew I wasn't going to get it. So my theory is, or my thoughts are, that we take about $50,000 of that $70,000. That money's here. It went into the 911 fund. It can't be spent for anything else except for 911 issues. So we take $50,000 of that. We buy this product. It's going to give us more consistency. It's going to give the emergency service personnel better information in a more timely manner. And that's what we're here for. So the reason I come to you primarily is because there is a county rule that says anybody that spends over $2,500 has to have the permission of the commissioners. So that's what I'm here for, to get your permission.
It's a no-brainer to me. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries 3-0. Go buy it. You're welcome. So next on the list, EMS and Hope Initiative Buildings, a discussion of the next steps. And I know, Joel, you sent us an email this afternoon. Do you want to discuss it a little bit? I don't know that we'll... So we're going to need to start this process back over with the two
That's what I think is my
recommendation.
Decide on what numbers you want to be as the minimum numbers. We didn't get any numbers first. Need to go maybe
A little lower, right.
and see what happens.
Okay.
Do we still put, the first time around, we put certain requirements you had to meet in order to buy the building? We're going to drop those, or
Well, it's up to you.
The requirement, right.
oh, if we say we got a bid, but we didn't put any restrictions on it, we would certainly be free to say, what do you intend to do with the building?
I think that could be
And-
something you could consider, right?
And if they're acting in good faith and they say we want to put whatever, if the county doesn't like the idea, we could reject that bid.
You have to award it to the highest and best bid. That's what the statute says. So I guess you could consider, ask for what a generalized use would be, and consider that as one of the factors in determining what the best bid is.
So if we don't put restrictions on it, and someone wants to buy the Hope Building, for example, and open up a daycare center, but they don't have the highest bid, they're a few thousand under the highest bid, which wants a strip club. We don't have any, we got to sell it to the strip club.
Yeah.
So we need to start this process over.
So that would be my
Okay,
recommendation,
it's just,
maybe develop another
okay.
offering for this, look at a new minimum price, and maybe remove some of those
Okay,
restrictions, open up the process again, and if you still don't,
okay.
consider listing it with a broker or an auction or something.
But these steps must be taken in order to be, and hopefully it gets sold, in those, that's the ultimate goal. But if for some reason it doesn't, then we can list it with the broker once we follow those steps, if nothing comes from those. Okay.
If somebody makes an offer on the building, then is that public knowledge?
Yes, any offer would be public.
So anyone else who wants to bid higher,
Yeah, the bidding process is open for 60 days.
You can keep it open up to 60 days. Throughout.
Do we need to do that in form of a motion to move forward?
I think probably what you need to do would be to offer. Once that's ready to go.
Then we can move forward.
The next meeting, we'll have that ready to go and get it going.
Do I have a motion?
I move that we allow Joel to draft it so we can move forward.
I will second that.
We have a motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And it looks like finally we have Resolution 2022-05-25-013. It's a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Henry County concerning, that's in dot, I missed the wrong one. Let me get to, I think I may. It's Resolution 2022-05-25-012. Let me make sure. Okay, so this is Resolution 2022-05-25-12, resolution amending the Henry County's written plan for the expenditure of the coronavirus local fiscal recovery funds. I believe everything is the same in the resolution except for the Exhibit A is what typically changes. Let me go down here. We have added number 15, because I believe we added 15 through 17, or 18, 15 through 18, up to $25,700 for the acquisition of equipment necessary to operate a morgue in the former county jail building. Number 16, the sum of $660,443.88 for the repair and improvement of highways. The sum of $165,110.97 for the improvement and repair of buildings, ponds, or infrastructure at Memorial Park. And the sum of $165,110.97 for assistance to volunteer fire departments located in Henry County in acquiring vehicle supplies and equipment, which there hasn't been any type of a detail as to how that would be appropriated between all of the volunteer fire departments. Number 17, the sum of up to, and I hope that that won't be the only funds that we appropriate from ARP to the volunteer fire departments. The sum of up to $40,000 for the cost of establishing the Hero 911 software application for use to monitor and implement to protect persons in local school buildings, if implemented by local school corporations and county buildings, and to provide 1 year of monitoring. This Hero 911 will help the efficiency and safety in responding to anything that it may be going on in the school systems. And the sum of $5,000 for landscaping at the Henry County Courthouse. Those are the 4 items that have been recommended from the ARP committee to the commissioners. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve it as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And I do have to thank Derek Bertram, who started working on the Hero 911 software about a year ago, and he has been diligent and persistent and passionate about this. So thank you, Derek, for spending all your time on that. Anybody have anything else? I think we've reached the end of, that was, yeah, we already did with Joe. Anybody have anything else? If not,
I guess we should clarify perhaps that the $5,000 for landscaping on a courthouse, I believe, is essentially to make the courthouse look better for Bicentennial, with an effort towards saving some of the plants and whatnot and incorporating it later into the final landscaping of the courthouse.
do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Thank you, everybody.